And a good afternoon to you. Hello there. Boy, that was loud, wasn't it? I am Ted Langdell, and we are here with Lunch with Langdell, our usual Wednesday gathering here. And we are going to be talking about things that are going to be happening on D Street in a couple of weekends. Not this weekend, but the following weekend. And the person who knows all about that is Kary Hauck.
Hello.
She's with Sapphire Marketing and is in charge of Marysville PeachFest 2022. And she's going to tell us all about that in just a minute. But first, what we want to do is get to know Kary Hauck, the person. So let's find out a little bit about how she ended up in the Yuba-Sutter area. Where were you born?
Here, born and raised. Yes, I've been here my whole life. Live Oak, California. So I grew up in Live Oak, went to Live Oak High School, go Lions. I stayed here. I love it here. My family's here. My roots are here. I love it here. Hopefully someday, I may grow some wings and fly, but so far, I've lived my whole life here, and I love this community.
So you've never moved out of the area? Never gone to school somewhere else?
Nope.
So graduated Live Oak High School, and what did you do from there?
Well, I went to college. Honestly, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. And so I went to work for the city of Marysville in 1994. I worked there for a decade. And,
what did you do?
Well, it was when building and fire were together, and so building was located inside the fire department over on 9th Street, and so I was the building and fire clerk. I loved working for the city of Marysville. A few years after starting, the Marysville Fire Department turned over to California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, and so I went up to City Hall. I did work in the building department for a while, but ended up at the recreation department when there was a Marysville Recreation Department, and from there I helped with the execution of the first few peach festivals that Andrew Coolidge put on.
Okay.
And so back then it was Andrew Coolidge. The idea came from Jody and John Sidaro and their family, and so Andrew Coolidge brought the event to life and partnered with the city of Marysville to make it happen. So I was able to work the first, I think, 3 peach festivals. And we put on several events in the city. The Christmas parade. There used to be the Great American Celebration and Regatta on the 4th of July at Ellis Lake. So multiple events in Marysville. So and classes for children and that kind of thing. So that was a lot of fun.
And now you are back to running the 4th of July fireworks.
Yes.
Which are in Beckworth Riverfront Park.
Uh-huh.
And we had a great time on Monday, there you go, trying to actually successfully doing, I think it was our best fireworks show that we have done live streaming since we started doing this 5 or 6 years ago.
It was a beautiful show. My business partner Judy took the lead on that, and she did an excellent job. And yes, very nice community event.
So we're here in front of the Brick Coffee House Cafe. Mm-hmm. Which is now operated by, help me here,
Heather Thompson, is that her last name? Heather, I can't think of her last name.
And I'm still trying to make sure I've got a lot of, you know how it is when you get older?
Oh, yes, I have those moments every day now.
The brain knows it's in there somewhere, but it doesn't necessarily have the ability to pull it up as quick as it used to.
Oh, I'm right there with you, Ted.
So we're in front of the Brick here, as you can see, and we're looking at downtown Marysville, looking north up D Street from basically part way up 3rd to 4th Street. Tell us a little bit about what's going to be going on during Peach Festival in 2022.
Well, lots of fun things. We try to do something different each year, really to keep the event fresh. And so as of next Thursday night at 9 o'clock, D Street will be shut down between 1st and 8th, actually maybe all the way up to 9th, and then between Oak and High Street alleys. And so people can expect not to be able to drive into the event footprint after 9 p.m. on Thursday, July 14th. That night, the Peach Pub Crawl is happening. That's the very first thing that happens with the Peach Festival is the pub crawl.
And this is Thursday.
Thursday, July 14th. And the Marysville Youth Shooting Sports Booster Club is putting that on. There are 6 participating bar, restaurant, pubs here in downtown Marysville that are participating. So I encourage everybody to participate, support that nonprofit, and have a good time. Every bar puts together a peachy drink to try and win a contest among the bars. And so you get to vote people's choice on your favorite drink, and then you get several opportunities to win prizes. So it's a fun night.
So what happens in Marysville downtown itself? How is this streetscape that we see now in a wide shot going to change? What's going to happen?
So what we're going to do is we're going to set up vendors down the middle of D Street. Used to, the vendors would go right where we're sitting up against the curb and gutter here. But we felt like that really blocked the brick and mortar businesses. And we really want to showcase our downtown. We have some awesome businesses down here in downtown Marysville. And we want to showcase them and shine a light on them. So we moved the vendor spaces down the middle of the street in 2019 when the city first hired us to work on the event. And I can tell you the brick and mortar businesses, the reports that we've gotten over the last couple of years is that each year they're outdoing their sales, and this is their biggest weekend of the year. So that's phenomenal.
That's great.
We want to help local, we want to positively impact the economy. I know that's why Marysville continues to support these events, is they want to have a thriving economy. So you will see vendor spaces up and down D Street, down the middle of the street. And I can tell you that just north of here, just north of this parklet, you'll see Patrick's Famous Pies, who will have, he's bringing 2,000 personal pies and cobblers with him. And down at the end of 3rd and D Street, you'll see on your way, Mini Donuts, and they have a peach cobbler mini donut. And there's, of course, several awesome vendors all the way up and down the street. Over here, just to the south of where we're at, over in the park at 3rd and D Street on the east side of D Street, we'll have a stage set up, and we will have multiple bands there, tables with umbrellas, and then on 3rd Street itself is one of our peachy food courts. And so we have lots of different variety of foods, but we ask each food vendor to have a peachy item of some sort to sell at the event, and there are some delicious peachy items coming this year. You'll also see another food court at 5th and D, and then finally we have a small food court at 6th and D because we have a huge stage being set up at 6th and D that Hard Rock has come in as our presenting sponsor and sponsored all of our entertainment, which meant that we got to improve our stage appearance and sound, and it's going to be really wonderful. We have a tribute band, C.C. Seeger, so it's a Creedence Clearwater Seeger tribute band, so that'll be Saturday night, so everybody can look forward to that.
So I think I heard Dan Flores talking during last night's city council meeting, which was audio only, that Hard Rock had kicked in another $16,000 something dollars to totally sponsor
entertainment, sound, and staging. So that we wouldn't be having this tribute band if it wasn't for Hard Rock. The staging that's going to be at D Street, which 6th and D in front of Casa Carlos, we haven't had a stage like that in the past. So all of that is thanks to the sponsorship from Hard Rock. And I see Recology walking by here. They're one of our big sponsors too. We couldn't do it without Recology.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what other kinds of things and what local vendors, because this started out as something that was very, very local and generated a lot of local interest, and people want to know what's going on with that.
There's a lot, I would say a good portion, probably 75% of our vendors are local. And then the others come from outside of the area, but I would say most of them live within a 50-mile radius. And so I think you're going to get a good variety of vendors, but it is supporting our local economy because these homegrown businesses are going to be there and be represented.
So you have how many vendors involved?
As of today, we have 130 vendors and about 170 spaces sold.
And how many different musical groups are going to be performing on these different stages?
Last count, I think it was 7. We're still tweaking things, but I think it was 7.
And I think Skip's Music, right across the street from us here, is
he's going to be in charge.
Sound and
yeah, he's going to be in charge of 3rd and D Street stage. And thank you to Council Member Bruce Buttacavoli for managing putting the entertainment together. That in itself is a big job. And he is the one who organized all the staging and all of the sound. It's a big job, and we really appreciate him. So kudos to him.
One of the things that we know from the change in how the festival was organized with the vendors up the street, you were remarking that the sidewalk and brick and mortar businesses have seen an improvement.
Yes.
And that also means that you'll be able to sit here in the parklet that was a pandemic, sit out in the open so that you could actually get a brick and mortar business running.
Yes.
Happening here. And that's had some beneficial effects, I think, at some of the other eateries in the area.
Absolutely, and I can tell you the Brick usually they have the outdoor seating area, and they usually sell their peach cobbler over there. Grab a peach cobbler and come over here and sit and enjoy it. But there are lots of local businesses here. I can tell you, I can't tell you how many things I have bought from local brick and mortars during Peach Festival. My dining room tables from Diggs down the street, and Sissy's Attic last year. I had a lot of fun in there during Peach Festival. But they really benefit when we can get the foot traffic in the doors, which is important. Why it's important to keep the vendors down the middle of the street to really showcase our local businesses.
And that's helping to solidify Marysville as a destination.
Marysville is seeing a real comeback. I think there were a lot of years that it fell on some hard times, and honestly, I haven't seen Marysville or Yuba County this well positioned in my life. So I think that Yuba County and Marysville are on a real upswing right now.
What would you cite as evidence of that?
I think a lot of it has to do with water and farming and leadership, frankly. I think we have some good leaders with some great vision.
And we'd like to thank our several people who have been watching. Charlotte Maddox was watching earlier. Emma Herkshorn is watching. Ellen Bradford Scour-Wachowski is watching.
Awesome.
So thank
Hello.
you for watching. What other kinds of things can you tell us about going on in Marysville? Because you're managing several other events.
Sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the micro events that go along with Peach Festival. So I talked about Pub Crawl, which is the very first, that's kind of the kickoff to Peach Festival. Last year, I can tell you, we were expecting about 200 people to come to that event, and we had about 500 at the event. First year. So it's a very popular event. The next morning, Training Zone is putting on the 5K run. And so you can contact Training Zone for more information, but I believe the run starts at 8 and race day registration is at 7, and the proceeds will benefit Agents of Change. And then following that at 10 a.m., we're doing a sip and paint, sip coffee this morning. So sip and paint at the corner of 6th and D Street with Christina May at the Beauty of Paint. She's come up with a beautiful scene featuring, it's a crate label. Imagine an antique crate label that we used to see on the side of a wooden crate in yesteryear, I'll say, but it's a big peach, and it has the Sodaro Orchards blue truck in it, and it has the Sutter Buttes you can see in the background, and then it has the Sodaro Orchards logo on it. It's really a beautiful piece, and so people can register to participate in that. There's a registration
and details are available at MarysvillePeachFest.com.
Yes.
And we have the website address up on the screen now in case you need to check things out. That's also good. Do you have any vendor spots left?
I did hold some back. You know, here the thing is we could take up all of D Street between 1st to 9th if we really wanted to. So we can always add vendor spaces. I've taken more advantage of the numbered streets this year, so you'll see more vendors or more exhibits on the numbered streets. So what I tried to do was shorten the footprint of the event so people didn't feel like they were walking so far. Sometimes when you're like 1st to 8th, people will stop at a certain point and not go any further. So we did make a couple of modifications there. So I do still have about 9 vendor spaces remaining within the current footprint. So going back to some of the, did you want to talk more about some of the ancillary events?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk more about the events, and then let's find out where people can park.
Oh, sure. So around noon, if you're interested in taking part in the peach pie eating contest and trying to unseat our 3-year champion, Manny Cardoza, you can come to the corner of 3rd and D Street to the Results Radio booth and participate in the peach pie eating contest. And there's a lot of other contests that Results Radio is doing. We'll be hiding golden peaches around downtown Marysville for a chance to win gift cards. So if you find a golden peach, you go into the business and guess what? You're going to get given a gift card. So it's kind of fun. And then, so that's at noon. And the Tasty Treat competition is at 2 p.m. that day. So if you have a recipe that includes peaches that is like a family favorite, a friend favorite, there are 2 categories. There's savory and sweet. And so bring that to the Yuba-Sutter Veteran Stand Down office, which is our Peach Festival headquarters. Thank you to Mike and Rob over at the Stand Down for letting us use their offices. But we will be judging in there at 2 p.m. and you have a chance to win cash prizes if your dish is selected in the top 2. There's a kids category in that as well.
And where again is that?
Did you want to be a taste tester? You want to be a judge?
Oh, why not? And we can probably do something because as you people were seeing here, we are actually going to be doing live shots from different places on Friday and Saturday. So we will be doing a variety of things on Friday and Saturday.
I brought you a goodie. So Lulu's Jams and Jellies. Lulu's Jams and Jellies has a booth at the corner of 5th and D, and this one's a Harvest Peach, but it's like a peach cobbler jelly jam. So I brought that for you to take home.
Oh, cool.
But right, she always sells out. So if you want that, you better get to 5th and D on Friday night because she as
let's
much
see
as
if it'll focus here.
Yeah,
No, it ain't gonna do that.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. So that's what this looks like. It looks like it's very tasty. Lulu's Jams and Jellies, and they're from Reading. So what kind of an area are we drawing vendors and visitors from?
Well, I'll tell you, last year we had a real downturn in vendors, and we think it was possibly due to those businesses that shuttered for COVID. And so we had a downturn. So we made it a goal this year. Of course, my business partner and I own several events or manage several events. And so we have been going out to events and seeking out the vendors we want for our events and making sure that they sign up. So I'll give you an example. Until this morning, I didn't have a churro vendor. I wanted churros with peach dipping sauce here. I think that would be a great addition to the event. And guess what? I got one this morning because of just good luck. And so we've been really going out and pounding the pavement, and we have a really extensive vendor list for our shows. So we have been tapping into those. So they're all from all over. To answer your question, I have Patrick's Famous Pies is coming from Texas. And he rents a commercial kitchen in Lincoln. Yeah, he rents a commercial kitchen in Lincoln. He makes his 2,000 pies. I'll tell you, he was sold out in 2019. He sold out by like noon on Saturday. And so so we have quite a few peach cobbler, peach pie vendors this year. And so I don't think we're going to run out of peach pies and peach cobblers like we did in the past. Stand Down, the Yuba-Sutter Veteran Stand Down will be at the corner of 5th and D across from Lulu's Jams and Jellies. And they will be selling Stevens Farmhouse pies with a Dutch crunch, so you can get a full-size pie, or you can get a personal pie, and so they'll be doing that. And I think they're doing blackberry peach cobbler as well from Stevens Farmhouse. So go see them and get yourself a full-size pie to take home. But I think we're going to have a lot of variety of peachy items this year for everybody.
Cool. So of the vendors that you have gone around and tried to personally select, or that you know are coming from previous years, what would you say are your top 5 off the top of your head that people should really make an effort to look at? Not that anybody else shouldn't be take a look at, but you're going to have these dotted up and down the street as a draw.
Yes, so I would say Sodaro Orchards and Jen and G's. Those are the 2 Sodaro girls. So Jen and G's is at the both booths are at the corner of 4th and D. Sodaro's is on the west side of the intersection on 4th Street, and Jen and G's is on the north side of the intersection at 4th and D. So Sodaro's brings fresh fruit, so you can get a leg of peaches if you want, but they have peach parfait, peach cobbler, and Jen and G's has peach cobbler, and you can actually go on her Facebook page right now and pre-order and pick it up at the event. Because last year, now we normally have about 30,000 people annually come to this event. Last year we had 50,000 people at this event, and so she was sold out on Friday night.
How do you calculate that?
It's a mathematical equation. Just like what you do is you do a body count per block, a certain number, a certain point in time during the event, and then you multiply that, and so it's a calculation. But I can tell you, I rely on more reliable sources like our law enforcement and some of the surveillance, some of the cameras and stuff we have at the event, so that we can kind of get a head count on the block.
It sounds like you're really, really excited about this, and not just because you're running it.
Oh, yeah. Well, so Sodaro, I'm going to go back to your top 5. I'm trying to think, but Sodaro's, the 2 Sodaro girls are always a hit. I would say, if you're looking for peachy food items, is that what you're thinking? Because Lulu's, we talked about.
What are your top 5 vendors?
I would say Lulu's is she sold out in 2019, went home that night, and all night made more. Stayed up all night, made more. So I would say Lulu's Gems and Jellies. I would definitely visit the stand down booth at 5th and D. There's a candy vendor coming called Twisted Treats. They're out of Oroville, and I've tried this. I actually got this for our sponsors. It's a peaches and cream saltwater taffy. So they're going to have a booth.
Now,
yes.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So they'll have a booth, so check them out. They're new this year. There's going to be a peach kettle corn vendor, so he's going to have a caramel peach kettle corn. There's 2. So we'll have one at 3rd and D and at 5th and D. So there's a long list. The jalapeno popper guy, he sold out too in 2020. And we were his first event ever that he attended, and that was so jalapeno poppers. He does a bacon wrapped jalapeno popper, and he has like a peach dipping sauce, and then he has a panko one that he has a peach. I think he actually works peaches into.
Cool. So right now on the screen, people are seeing the website, and what will they find there? Will they find lists of vendors? Will they find other events? What time different things are going on?
I haven't posted all the different events yet, but they will find the Tasty Treat competition details. They will find a full list of vendors, although I will say we're adding vendors every day, so that's may not be completely up to date. It was up to date as of last week. I think the newspaper put out an article last week on the front page, and it had all of the details on when the bands were playing, how you can find parking, etc.
Okay, so you can go to the website and find out information, and it's going to be updated in the next several days, and as the week progresses.
I would watch our Facebook page. Our Facebook page, we post a lot of the events to our Facebook page, so you can find a lot of information there. Okay,
so tell us about the Facebook page. Where do they go to find that? Facebook.com/.
Oh, you're going to ask me that question. I don't know if I know that one off the top of my head. Just search Marysville Peach
Festival. That's the Langdell question for today.
I know. So we have several produce vendors coming down here. So like farm stands, like farmers market stands, we have several of those coming to the festival. So you can grab more than just fresh peaches at those stands. There'll be one at 3rd, one at 4th, and one at 5th Street at the D Street intersection. So we have some awesome Peach Festival t-shirts with our logo from this year on it, which is amazing. Randy Johnson created that for us at Original Randy, and he did an outstanding job. So you can find those. You'll be able to find those at Diggs here on D Street and Sissy's Attic. And yeah,
almost right next door to
yes,
where we are.
They're not quite ready yet. They'll be
brick.
ready. I'll have them out at the end of this week. And so the Chamber of Commerce will be here. I think that we might be selling some T-shirts in that booth as well. They'll be at 5th and D Street in the middle of the intersection. So.
And will any of the vacant storefronts that we have a few, are they going to be used for any kind of pop-up events?
Not that I'm aware of. There may be one. I know Ruth Soto had mentioned to me that she was looking at having a couple, but I honestly don't know the location of that. So, but I'm sure if you look, you'll find them. I think it's here, maybe at the end of this block on the corner of 4th and D.
Okay. Very good. Well, you have been watching Lunch with Langdell, and we have been joined by the very effervescent, ebullient, and enthusiastic Kary Hauck.
Well, thank you. I'll take it.
We've been talking about the 2022 version of the Marysville Peach Festival, now called PeachFest. And if you're looking for more information, just simply go to MarysvillePeachFest.com, because if you don't, you won't know what's going on.
Yeah, we like to call it, we coined this phrase last year, the sweetest fest in the West.
Okay.
We've been running with that ever since.
All right, and it sounds like people have been having a good time with that too.
Oh gosh, we have. I'm definitely. So yeah, invite everybody down next weekend. It starts on Friday at 4 p.m., runs till 10 p.m., and then Saturday the festival opens again at 10 a.m. and runs through 10 p.m.
All right. The Marysville Peach Festival, that's been our subject, and of course we will be doing live streams from PeachFest 2022. So we'll keep you up to date, maybe once an hour, so as not to make your phone explode or your other viewing device. But we'll try to make sure that you're informed about all the fun that's going on. Marysville is fun. People used to think that the lower part of D Street was the fun part of D Street. Well, now we're going to have the whole D Street being a fun spot at least more than once a year. And yes. I see we have a few pigeons joining us. So
yeah, if you have a family, if you've got children, this is where we're sitting right now is kind of a great place to be, because we've got a children's area put on by Playseum that'll be at the park here on the east side of the 3rd and D intersection. And First Five will be there, and we have a local church that's going to be there doing like water games and that kind of thing. So a face painter right out here. So lots of fun things for the kids.
All right. Well, I'm Ted Langdell, as you probably have realized by now. And I'm the host of this fine, wonderful show that we call every Wednesday, Lunch with Langdell. And one of these fine afternoons, we will get a chance to actually eat something during the show. Not exactly sure when that's going to happen, but it will happen, and we will tell you more about what's happening with that. We'd like to thank our guest, Kary Hauck, who has been... No, that's not... There's Kary Hauck from Sapphire Marketing Group, who is the major domo in charge of the PeachFest this year.
If things are going good, I will take that title. If they're going bad, no. I'm just kidding. It's always good. It's always good.
All right. And the weather is nice, and we're hoping that the weather is very nice in another couple of weekends.
Well, I did look.
Not this weekend, but next weekend.
I did look, and Friday they had it at 107, but they've now lowered it to 101. So it went down 6 degrees overnight, and the forecast, I'm hoping it comes down another 6 degrees.
Long-term forecasting is good guesswork, not an exact science.
This is right.
But we'll keep you posted on that. All right. Kary Hauck, our guest, we thank you for being here on D Street in Marysville in front of the Brick Coffee Cafe right behind us, open for breakfast and lunch. And they have a wonderful patio that's a nice, cool spot, very shaded. And we hope that you will be able to come down and enjoy some fun. Some of our sponsors include Skip's Marysville Music Cafe, with lessons in person and personalized. Instruments including guitars and amps, horns, strings, strings for instruments, and a myriad of music and sound equipment. Skip's Marysville Music Cafe. And we would like to do a couple of things, if you wouldn't mind. Follow us, like, and share us on Facebook and elsewhere so that you know when we are going to be live and when we are live. That would be very helpful. And if you happen to have some loose change and you enjoy what we're doing, you can find down in the bottom part of the text underneath our social media pages, you can find some links where you can become a monthly subscriber or just give us one big wad of cash. We're not bashful about asking for that, but if you've enjoyed what we've been doing, our government live streams that have been coming up here for a long time, and also 4th of July and things of that nature, well, by gosh, give us a little support. We do get support from Skip Birch and Skip's Marysville Music Cafe, Gary Bradford and Brent Hasty, who along with Skip Suk Pirwal, Charles Sharp, Jackie Silman, and Robin Hauck recognize that what we do is an important community service. So, if you like what we're doing, we'd love to hear more from you. We are Yuba-Sutter.live.